Cilla Raie.
Hey.
It's been a long time.
Very long time.
I mean, we were just talking off camera that we've never actually met.
Right.
But I feel like in another universe, like in my previous time, I feel like I already have met you.
I know, innit?
Yeah.
That's the vibe I'm getting as well. Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
It's like one of those ones. It's like someone I see on a regular, but I'm meeting you for the first time.
You know.
That is mad.
It's mad, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think we got like this good energetic energy going on. Yeah.
Do you know what it is? I did a little bit of. So, are you a Libra?
Yes. How did you know that?
I mean, hey, listen. I'm telling you. I told you. Like,
amazing.
You come on my platform and you're not going to expect anything less.
Wow.
So, I mean,
wow.
Because I was looking at it, I was thinking like, you seem to have balance about you. Like, you're a very balanced person, so it seems of a Libra. Do you see yourself as a typical Libra, like in that way, or?
Yeah, I do actually. I do. There's a lot about Libras that I can identify with, especially being very indecisive. Like, I was literally just about to get myself a drink, and I couldn't decide what drink to get. And she's like, "You decided yet?" And I was like, yeah, this one's good.
So, I mean, what's the most, before we get into anything, like, so what's the most indecisive thing that you've ever come across in your lifetime?
Oh, that's really hard to answer because there's been so many.
If there's like something recent you thought like, oh shit, I don't know, like, because obviously the drink was just now, but has there been something that stood out that you've been really indecisive about? I thought like, why the fuck am I like this?
Actually, yes. My artwork.
Oh, really?
For the single, yeah.
Okay.
Because what we usually do when we like shoot like, you know, covers and stuff like that, we'll do like a batch in a day. So we'll do more than like, so we'll shoot the artwork, the press images, the project artwork, like everything in one.
Yeah.
And I remember getting all the pictures back, and I literally sat there for weeks trying to decide what to make the artwork cover for this particular single. So. And then sometimes I literally have to get somebody else to step in and be like, "Look, listen, all right, that one, that's the one, yeah, that's the one."
So
yeah,
how many artworks did you get through until it was like your team was like, no, right, let's go with this one?
So imagine like 8-9 different outfit changes.
8 different ones.
Yeah, but you know what? I have to feel it in my soul.
Right.
And when I feel it in my soul, I can better trust my judgment.
Right. But it takes you a long time to get to that judgment. It takes
me a long time. But then I've learned to trust my judgment so much more because I just feel like when I do that, good things happen. Yeah. So
do you believe in like taking your time in making sure you get to the right result that you want for yourself in general? Yes.
And also, now I've kind of gotten to a place where, yes, take your time, but then also just know that things are moving. So, say, for instance, with music, right? You know, some artists could record hundreds and hundreds of music in a year, right? And be indecisive about what they want to release or what single that they want to put first or what songs they want to put on an album. And, you know, obviously all of those factors are incredibly important because you got to make it right. You got to do it properly.
Right.
But then sometimes you just got to realize, like, I remember my manager saying to me, just put music out. Just put it out.
Yeah.
Don't sit and hold music for a long time and then thinking that, oh, you got to wait for the right time. Sometimes you do, yes, but then just put it out.
That's the most important thing because, you know, if you don't put it out, then how can we know what's... I mean, obviously, you got your backlog, which we'll go to in a bit, but but obviously if you're not, like, consistent with putting stuff out, then there's no sort of like updates where we can envision our mind, oh, this is something brand new from you. Exactly. And then sometimes you got to figure out what works and what doesn't. And when you put out releases, like for instance, I feel like in my case, putting out music, especially like during the past year and a half or 2 years, I've kind of started figuring out now what works and what doesn't. Right. So it's really important to put stuff out because you can actually start to gauge, okay, this works, that doesn't work. Okay, maybe let's pay more attention to this. Especially like when it comes to like branding and image. I feel like there's certain types of, and it could come down to something so small like my hair or the way I'm dressed or how I'm moving in the music video. And I'm just like, I don't like that. So you know what, next time around, let's scrap that, let's do something different. So it helps you figure stuff out by just putting it out and you build slowly as an artist. So you said about like, you know, moving within music videos, because obviously you're a very R&B eccentric artist, and you're very soulful, you're very sensual when it comes to your, you know, sort of the projects that you're putting out.
Yeah.
Like, how did you get to the point of like, you know, embodying that, I guess, a character in a way where it's like you're able to go into the zone and really express based on the topics that you bring out as your music?
I think it was just getting comfortable over time and allowing myself to be vulnerable.
Was there a point where you weren't as vulnerable, but now you are?
Yeah, before I had my son, I wasn't really...
Okay. Here
connecting the dots,
Right.
Before I had my son, I just felt like, one, I was still figuring a lot of things out when it came down to like, just everything in general, just how the type of music I was making, my image, the songwriting, everything. I was still figuring it out, and I feel like when you're not decisive and you don't know, you know, you can be in that place where it's a bit muddly and you're not sure. But as I've started to get a bit more sure now, because I'm becoming a lot more comfortable with myself, and I'm starting to become more aware of what works for me and what doesn't. Now is the time. Yeah.
See, it's interesting because you said that you became the most vulnerable when you had your son.
Yes.
Because a lot of people tell me that, you know, when, you know, people have kids, that it's an instant feeling that it's indescribable. I mean, for me, not being a parent myself, like I've always had this, you know, logic in my head. It's just like, you know, I'm not there or whatever. I'm not ready for it. But obviously for you, like being a mother, it's just like, you had no choice but to be ready. So I guess the vulnerability like came from that, knowing that your feelings must have been instant, knowing you had your son.
Yeah. And then on top of that as well, it's like I knew that, you know, what was the example that I wanted to set for my son as well. Like, I don't want to be this scared little person just like trying to always figure things out and just like, I don't want to do this or whatever. Like, it actually makes you go harder when you have a child.
Okay, like, I never knew that philosophy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Honestly, like, and I hear this from a lot of mums and fathers as well. I'm a single parent, so for me, it makes me want to go even more harder. Like, I want to do the best I can, not only to show my son, like, you can do whatever you want and be great and be successful, and as long as you work hard, etc. But also that, you know, I don't want to be that person sitting on my ass all day. Like, just
Well, you don't want. I mean, if the pandemic is anything to go by, like, you know, we've had no choice at parts to, you know, to be at home and whatever.
Right.
You know, politics, that's another story.
Exactly,
but if we look at the positives of it, like for you, like clearly it shows that you've been able to be more creative during this time as well.
Yeah.
So, you know, were you active at home, just like you're like recording and doing stuff whilst looking after your son at the same time?
Yeah, I mean, when COVID hit, my son had just started nursery, I think the end of the last year before it. And so then I had him at home 24/7 as a single parent, and it was just me and him, like in the house,
right?
Because I have my own place with him. And it was just us two. And imagine having a toddler, and around that time he was like 2, 3. So imagine having a toddler 24/7 that you have to take care of in the house. And I was stuck. But guess what? That's when I started releasing again. And that's when I shot the video in my house for 801. That's when I released the 801. That's when all the good things, everything just happened at a time that wasn't necessarily great for others, but it just happened to be great for me. Because it really made me sit down and say, you know what? No, I'm not going to let this stop me. There's so many ways to go about things. I mean, this is the beauty of the internet and social media and stuff, because as artists, we're still able to put stuff out, still able to do whatever in our capacity, because it's all digital, you know what I'm saying? Unless, like, obviously live shows and that, we can't do that, but
well, no,
we couldn't have done that before. But, you know, in the space that we were able to just create in the house, I shot my video in the house, I wrote in my house, I draft recorded in my house, I did all my press releases in the house when we didn't have PR at the time. We sent out all of our, you know, contacts, all the details as far as the releases and stuff.
Right.
And it did really well.
So you became even more multifaceted during this time.
More.
So now that, you know, coming out of the other side of it now, you seem more now ready than ever to be like, you know, even with the advice to just put stuff out, don't hold on to stuff. Just put it out and make your full presence known.
Yeah. It gave me a lot of skills. I had a lot of skills prior to that anyways, having gone university and did the public relations, and then I did a master's in music business management, so I had like an idea there already.
So you had that backlog of experience beforehand, yeah.
Yeah. So it was just a case of like, okay, well, how can I apply what I've learned in my own career? And everything that I was taught and I learned, not only just from those courses, but also from my manager and everybody else I worked with in the industry. I just applied that to my own career. Being an independent artist, you got to figure stuff out.
You have to. You got no choice.
You got no choice.
You got to navigate it.
Right.
You have it as long as you have a good team as well that can support your vision as well and guide you in the right direction. But it's all you at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So let's take it back then. So I've done a lot of research on you. So you're of Angolan and Congolese descent.
Yes.
You're born from North London.
Yes.
You're youngest of three siblings.
Yes.
So I mean,
this
first,
is amazing.
Yeah. So firstly, like, growing up like with, because obviously we see you as like a R&B centric artist.
Yeah.
Where did that inspiration come from? Obviously, you're the youngest of three siblings. Where did that all stem from as far as like, what was it like growing up and how did you get to that point of being an artist, but also, establishing your ideologies of R&B?
So the whole with R&B, that was predominantly what was played in the house. Like, I remember growing up and my mum was like, literally she would have all three of us just kind of sat in front of the TV when she did like her, work around the house and stuff. And all that would come on the TV screen was MTV. MTV,
yeah.
From 8 a.m. to 10 p.m.
Were you on MTV Raps at the time? But I don't know if it was there. Like, it would have been like the early 2000s from that point. But no, it's been going on for years though.
Yeah, it's
like
been going
decades.
on for years. Probably just in a different format.
Right.
But that's all I remember, and that was all that was playing on TV. And what I was seeing was the Brandys, the Aaliyahs, the Monicas, the Michael Jacksons, the Janet Jacksons. Oof. And you can imagine that's not even early 2000s. Say like 1998. 1997, 1998. Wow. So that peak time.
The golden era.
The golden
era.
Yeah.
So you see that vocal there? Like, I didn't even realize I got that. Yeah.
The golden era. I was literally that was all I was watching.
Right.
So that's where that love for R&B came in, because it just felt like, okay, I'm identifying with other black females, but they're artists, and that made me want to be an artist. So I remember just looking at Aaliyah thinking like, oh my God, I want to do what she's doing. And she was so stunning, and I just thought to myself, oh, just beautiful. So I was just like, yeah, I want to do that. And so then when it came to school, it was just like every single time there was like an assembly or some sort of talent show, I was there. I was there.
I can imagine.
I think all throughout my school.
You signed up at the top of the list. Yes, put me down.
That's it.
Right.
All throughout, like, people from school, they will hit me up now and be like, oh, you're the girl that sang in school, innit? Everybody only knows me as the girl that sang in school all throughout secondary.
They don't know you as the artist that you are now. Right.
So, yeah, that's where the love comes in. It's just simply from that and just cultivating that and just knowing that, okay, I want to be an artist, but I want to do R&B because this is what I know. Obviously, I loved pop too. I loved Britney Spears to the death of me. I would watch all her concerts.
Listen, I'll tell you something. There was a prom that I went to in school days, like year 9, year 10, them sort of ones there. I was wearing like a flamey shirt, like dart players will wear, but I was thinking I was the shit and blah, blah, blah. So a lot of what was played was like a lot of considered cheesy pop, like your Eiffel 65s, your Ricky Martins, your Backstreet Boys. Hey, listen, don't take away Backstreet Boys,
Backstreet Boys, I'm saying. Backstreet Boys, NSYNC. Yep, NSYNC, all of that, like amazing.
Every little thing I do, never since enough for you. Yeah.
Wow, you got vocals.
Yeah, a little something.
Wow.
A little something. maybe with a bit of teaching, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, you were saying about, you were saying about like you know, obviously through school days and, you know, people knowing you for, you know, the singer in school and obviously not from this point now.
Right.
You know, you started fully at the age of 11.
Yes.
You know, you got really into it, songwriting at 14.
Yep.
Davinche picked you up.
Yeah.
MySpace days.
Do you know what? I just want to say shout out Davinche.
Yeah.
Because even today, I'll be like, you know, I said your name in this interview, and I said your name in this interview, and I'll be showing him. Like,
I bet, like everyone you've been speaking with today, like it's just like making sure that Davinche gets his flowers. Yeah, but big up though, for real.
He needs to get his flowers. Yeah. Like he's done such incredible work in the past, and even now, all of his artist stuff that he does he does it top tier, and I just really He gave me hope into actually wanting to get into the industry.
Wow.
Because he was the first person of that magnitude that reached out to me. And I was thinking, what? Me out of all people? And at that time he was hot.
He was hot on the fire.
Hot.
He was the hottest in the scene.
Yeah.
Everyone knew who he was. Like
right.
I even met him one time. This was years ago, and it was just like I was actually gassed to meet him.
Yeah.
You know the ones where it's just like you don't look at him like a celebrity, but you look like someone that you fully respect.
And that was me the first time I went into the studio when he told me to come down to the studio. I was trying to contain myself because I was just like, this is Davinche, you know, like this is a bit mad. And he's in the studio, like using his free time.
Yeah.
Can I just say, this is very big because in this day and age right now, I'm not saying this doesn't happen because it does, but not a lot of people will do what he did for me.
Right.
Which is he used his own free time.
Yep.
Wasn't getting paid for this, nothing like that. He simply saw my talent, reached out to me and said, come to the studio, and literally for months mentored me. Taught me how to write, taught me how to record in the studio, taught me how to use my voice in the booth. And he didn't have to do that. He didn't have to. He wasn't getting paid. That was his own free time, and he did that for me. So I just want to say big up Davinche, because my respect for him is like through the roof.
Do you know what it is? It sounded like he was very selfless, that wanted to give up his time, just like another fallen king that we had, you know, in Jamal Edwards.
Exactly. Yes.
You know, so I mean, and you know, speaking of Jamal, like I'd said it a few times already, but he was the reason why I wanted to start this channel in the first place. Right. I was in uni. I was watching SBTV from the heyday, like from the 2008, 2009 days. Right. And you know, and I actually met him at Wireless that one time. Yeah. And he gave up his time for everybody. Yeah. He gave me 10 minutes of his time. Like not gave up 10 minutes. We were speaking for 10 minutes. Right. And he was saying to me, I said to him, you're the reason why I've been doing this. And he said to me, look, don't give up. Keep going. You're going to get to the point where you want to be at. Like he gave me so much advice. Yeah. And I guess like that reflects in the same way for you, for Davinche, like supporting you as well. So I mean, you know, rest in peace to Jamal. Yeah, rest in peace. But you know, but obviously big up to Davinche for supporting you. Absolutely. And I think, you know, it would be lovely to have more people that were like the Jamals and Davinches of the world, because there's so many talent to be able to cultivate, and sometimes an artist just needs that extra little bit of motivation and that extra little push from someone who's not in it for anything. They just simply just want to be able to help. So yeah. Did you ever get a chance to meet Jamal Edwards? I saw him in passing a few times. I never actually like directly had conversations with him. I know when you know, SBTV and stuff, we did try and get maybe 1 or 2 videos on there before, but yeah, it was never like completely direct. Right. But I still had the utmost respect for him. His mum, who's on Loose Women. Yeah, Brenda. Absolutely, that woman there is the epitome of strength. Like absolutely phenomenal woman. Absolutely, like I look at her and I get so much inspiration from her, just from being a mother as well and being a single parent as well, and I just respect her to the fullest. So yeah. I mean, there's no easy way of transitioning, but like I said, like, you know, I actually gave Jamal his flowers a month before he passed. Oh, right. I DM'd him, he responded back, he said like, thank you for the kind words, and then. Yeah. You know, it's too many of our kings are going so quickly, man. Yeah, and you know, like it's always a thing to always give your flowers whilst they're here. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. But I mean, no easy way of transitioning. But But you know, coming back to you now, like you know, I noticed in you that there's a few gaps. Yeah. Let's talk about those gaps. Yeah. So, like notably, like you know, starting from like 2011
yeah.
as far as like fully singing, releasing your debut EP, Cilla Raie. You know, of course, having your son, that's one of the gaps.
Yeah.
But then I'm hearing that there was another gap. Was there like more? Has there been like a few gaps? As not so much, obviously, your son beforehand. Was there a few gaps? You know, because you released and then there was a gap, and then you released again a couple of times, and there was a gaps as well. What were notable about those gaps? Like, were you working through? Obviously, being independent, it must be tough at times.
Yeah, I think different situations. So, say for instance, around that time as well, there was a lot I was balancing. I mean,
Libra.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's a lot I was balancing as far as like working part-time, being a student at university,
right,
and then also being an artist, which is a lot to take in. And again, there was a lot I was figuring out as far as like, you know, I've stuck with the same manager, Tariq Keys. We've always stuck like by each other like throughout the whole time.
Yeah.
And you know, we bring in different people to create the team and to put the team together. And sometimes, you know, you just find that certain things don't stick, or certain people don't stick, or maybe, you know, visually some things just don't come out the way that it needs to come out. And, you know, I think around that time there was just a lot of trying to figure out.
Yeah.
Trying to figure out who I was as an artist, what I wanted to sing about, the type of songs that I wanted to make, which is first and foremost, the most important thing. And I think that was mainly the reason. And then on top of that, just having this whole other life as well, just studying and all that. So there was just a lot. There was a lot to figure out. And I think those were the reasons for the gaps. But as I've gotten older and, you know, coming into this phase, I think there's just a lot, I'm a lot more sure of myself.
Right.
I've become so much more sure of myself. Again, with the whole testing songs, putting them out. So to speak, those songs are like tester songs.
I see.
Basically, yeah.
So it's like you have to taste your own cooking before you actually put it on the plate.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And to me, I feel like those songs, the masterpieces, all of that, they were all tester songs for me, just to kind of just gauge.
Yeah.
Do people like me as an artist? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
I mean, the thing is, it's like you could say that you've had longevity as well, because as much as like you've had a few gaps and then obviously like you're working yourself out, you're still here.
Yeah.
There's some artists that have been doing it for a while, but then we never see them again. Yeah. So at least there's consistency that we still see you in a form of light. I mean, even with Ain't the One in 2020.
Yeah.
You know, even the follow-up EP. The single Ain't No One, but even like with the follow-up EP with Reconnected.
Yeah.
And it says it in the title.
Yeah. That's why I named that EP that, because when I put that EP out, when I was putting it together, I felt like I was coming back 360 to what I loved again, because I did actually fall out of love a little bit with music. Everyone does, you know, at some point, because especially when you're dealing with like industry.
Yep.
It gets a lot. It gets a lot.
I've seen it for myself.
Exactly.
Yep.
And sometimes you might feel like, you know what, let me just you know, take some time out.
Yeah. Ignore the politics
and just live your life.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You know what? You sound like my mom, because she been telling me like live your life. Do you know what? I have this philosophy of, I watched a Martin Lawrence stand-up years ago. I don't know if you, there was one called Run Tell That, 2002. And he said, ride this motherfucker till the wheels fall off. And I'm living by it.
Yeah, dude.
I'm living by it. There was a time like during, you know, obviously the pandemic times, I was a bit fearful.
Yeah.
But then as time went on, I'm thinking like, you know what, boy, one thing happens, another major catastrophe happens. What can you do? And I even live by control the controllable. What can you control apart from your own thoughts?
Do you know, I stand by, I feel like this is quite a masculine trait, yeah. But I really stand by just finding a solution.
Yeah.
Just, if something happens, or things happen all the time, even till today, I have a lot of stuff happening on a day-to-day basis that I can literally stress about. But I just say, just find a solution. Just find don't complain. Just find the solution.
Yeah.
I feel like that's quite masculine behavior, because like the males and my dad.
But be real about it. Like I said before we got on, talk the truth and let the devil shame.
Because you know what? I go to my dad, right? And I'll be like to him, no, this happened. He's like, okay, and
it's like, man, I do this right now.
Right.
Me can't do this right
exactly.
now. Stop.
It's like, okay, it's like, so what do you want? So what do you want?
Yeah.
How much do you need?
What do you want? A pat on the back or something?
Like,
do you want that hug that I'm not going to give you?
Exactly. They're just finding a solution quick and get on with your day.
And it just seems that way because obviously, you know, bringing Reconnected out and obviously you're really showcasing your vulnerability as well.
Yeah.
You know, you're really like, you know, all those things that you were going through, and now it's just like, you know what? I'm going to make sure I have a solution for it. I'm not going to hold myself back from all my stuff now, especially within music.
Exactly.
And obviously being like a, you know, a really beautiful black woman.
Aww,
you know, a young black woman. You know what I mean? Go through her, you know. I looked into it. It's like you've been through some, like, you had some love issues, so it seems. And you've always expressed it in your music. So it's like I'm thinking, you know, have you caught a break or something? Not in a bad way, but you know what I'm saying?
Well, this is what I'll be asking myself all the time. I actually be asking myself that question all the time, have I caught a break? But I'm just like, you know what, now I don't kill myself.
Right.
That's it. Now I'm at a place where I'm not killing myself for no one. I'm not killing myself for no situation, nothing. With music, I always say, if I stop enjoying it, I won't completely fall out of it because I just feel like it's just so much engraved in me that I will always forever put stuff out. Even if it's not like, you know, one song there and then 6 months later another song there. Even if it's like spread out, I will always put stuff out. But one thing I will say, I will never come and kill myself.
Yeah.
That's it, you know.
Never compromise.
Never
compromise on yourself.
Right.
An interesting thing that I found out about is that you got interviewed by Rebecca Ferguson.
Yes. I have to think about that one. I love her. Hi, Rebecca.
Yeah. How did that all come about?
Man. Sorry.
She's trying to retrace her steps from this.
Yes. Because she's just, oh my God. So basically, she had like an open casting call for her video Superwoman. So she was doing like a campaign to like bring some women together for her music video. So I remember I got selected for it, and they were like, "Yeah, come down to Sony Studios, whatever." Sony Studios, the record label,
right?
You know.
Yeah, so like the building.
Yeah,
like
the building. Yeah. So I went down there, met her in person, and she had her team there and everything. And yeah, so they were just doing like this mini interview segment at the end of her video. So if you go and watch Superwoman, you'll see me at the end of the video.
Yes.
And yeah, from there, I thought it was just kind of like, you know, like another thing where it's just one opportunity and it kind of goes.
Yeah, one time and done.
I love her so much. Like, we've built such a good relationship with each other. We might not talk every day,
but you're there.
Yes.
She's there for you too.
Yes.
Right.
When I got pregnant, when I got pregnant with my son, I was going through like something really, really just terrible.
Yeah.
It wasn't the greatest situation, and the first person that I reached out to was her.
Yeah.
Because I knew that she would understand it in some ways, and we literally, like, she literally supported me throughout my whole pregnancy, and would be like, "Hey, how you doing? You're right. How's everything going, etc., etc. Do you need any help? Blah blah blah." So she supported me throughout my entire pregnancy, and I just felt like heard and seen, and I was like, this makes sense because she's a mother, she's an artist, she's been in the industry, she's had her success.
So she understands the full spectrum.
Exactly, and she could understand out of anybody. So since then, and then even now, when I've started releasing again, she was like, oh, just before I started releasing actually, she was like, make sure you build your fan base, you know, just try and do what you can, try and get back on radio, try and da-da-da-da-da. And when I started doing all of that again, and when I started putting out 801 and Motors and stuff, she was like, you know what, I'm so proud of you. Like, wow. She was like, I feel it in my soul that you're gonna be something. Like, this is gonna be something. I
mean, you're coming out with some grown woman shit these days.
I appreciate it.
Because, I mean, let's talk about Longtime.
Yeah.
I've been crushing on you long time. She knows.
I can't wait for you to see the video. It's one of my best. Me personally speaking, it's one of my best videos I've ever done.
Because, I mean, you know, there's only one other person that I have seen that's taken the R&B and drill vibes that you came with.
We know.
Cilla Raie.
Okay, yeah.
There's a Swedish artist called Sri, and she did Maria.
Yes,
Maria.
Yes, and there's also Shay.
Shay's Universe.
Yes.
Ah, yes.
She
that's
does
right,
the R&B drill. Yeah.
Because I feel it's like, you know, drill music has really popped off over the past couple of years. It's like, you know, 2000s was grime, like 90s was garage. Right. Now we're in the drill scene. Yeah. Like, you know, R&B and mixed with drill. What made you decide that you wanted to tap into that?
You know what? It wasn't conscious, you know. I was literally just messing about one day, and my producer was just playing some riff in the background, and I was like, "What's that?" Me, I'm always nosy. I was just like, "What's that? Let me hear that. Let me hear the full thing." So he played me the full song, and I was like, "I absolutely love this," because the whole acoustic guitar thing reminds me of like that old school Aaliyah, like. The guitars in it reminds me of one of our older songs, and then he just had the drill beat in the back, the drill beat in the back, because he just put it there, and I was like, oh my god, this actually works. And I was like, let me see what I write to it, because that's going to determine everything. Yeah. So when I wrote the song and re-recorded it, we were like, yeah,
you got it.
This works.
This is it.
This is it.
Right.
And I love the song so much because it really represents today. We've reconnected. Half of the songs were songs that I did before my son. Right. And then there was a couple new songs that I wrote and recorded like recently. But with this project and this song, it's all fresh, it's all now, it's all representing right now. And it's grown woman. I really wanted to give grown woman vibes because I felt like with my last project, everything was like really playful, really bright, and really, you know,
you wanted to let people know, like, I'm grown, like, I'm grown. You know what I mean? Like, no BS at this point.
Yeah, because I'm 28.
Listen, you don't look any age above 25.
I know. I get asked for IDs still all the time in the shop. So.
I swear to, literally, like 2 years ago, I went into Asda and I had to get something. I had to get some like cigarette. I don't smoke, by the way, but it was just I had to buy some cigarettes. He literally like ID'd me, and I'm like, I'm in my, you know, I'll say I'm early 30s. I'm like, bruv, fam, what is going on? Like, I mean, I appreciate it, but I gotta get these things still.
Yeah.
So, do you always get?
I mean, you do look young, so.
I appreciate it. Do you know what it is? I call myself the human teddy bear on Instagram. You know what I mean? So, we'll talk off camera for that. So, I mean, you know, just to touch on like just a few more things I want to talk to you about, like. What do you think the state of R&B is right now? Because as we talked about the golden era, we resonated fully with those times. Yeah. We know like when R&B hits, it hits your soul. Yeah. And you're hitting our souls, but in a modern time. Yeah. But I still think that R&B is not fully represented as it should, especially when it comes to like award shows, like certain award shows that only categorize it if they have to merge it with something else.
You mean like in the UK?
In the UK, more like, I don't know, it's just like in the US, I see there's a lot more recognition, but I don't know, I just feel like as a genre, as a whole, there are times where I feel like it can be, you know, not as high gas as like say drill, for example. Yeah. Drill's popping.
Yeah, of course.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So what's your perception on it? Where do you think we are now?
Okay, so when it comes to like UK R&B, I feel like we've still got a long way to go. There's a lot of what I do appreciate though is that the fact that there's a lot of conversation, there's a lot of discussions around UK R&B that has started since like last year, even before last year, and people are actually actively trying to figure out ways to just maybe create more platforms for UK R&B. Everybody was really angry at the Brits situation with the category, which
we know,
which was not great, but I feel like I'm happy that there's a lot more conversations happening. Facts. And a lot more conversations as far as like with the elite individuals, so the people who are kind of like, you know, a little bit more like the executives and stuff. They're hearing the conversations. I see them in the rooms and stuff like that.
So there's more talks of it being more represented as it should.
Yes. As far as action, it's slowly taking place. I mean, like, it's great that we have things like Tonight with Target that was on TV.
Yeah, facts.
And you had people like Bella on the show performing.
Facts.
That's, you know, television. Yeah. And stuff like that. The fact that stuff like that is happening where even Bella was at the Mobile Awards performing with Any. So there's little actions where some artists are getting the opportunities and the platforms here and there, but there's still more work to do.
Yeah.
I think in a general sense overall, as we all know, America's like the number one staple place
for R&B.
For R&B. I mean, from the conversations I've had with those who are in the US and stuff like that, it's still a prominent genre, but not as much.
Right.
But it's a hard one to answer, because
Right.
I think it really just comes down to you as an individual and as an artist and what you're trying to do.
Right.
And what it is what's your trajectory? Like,
Yeah.
what do you want as an artist? What are you trying to get?
And for you, it seems like you're really wanting to bring it, like you're bringing it to the surface, as it's like, this is true R&B.
Yeah.
Take me in, this is me.
Yeah. And I'm not going to lie, like, even with my last project with Reconnected, the amount of setbacks that we had, despite all of the great, a lot of opportunities came from those releases, but there was a lot of setbacks.
Wow.
A lot. Like, I had more no's than I had yeses.
Do you know what? That sums up my career as well. Same. I still get no's to this day.
Yeah.
But at this point for me, it's more so, I don't let that get to me.
Yeah.
It's just like, keep it moving. There's going to be a yes somewhere.
And that's the attitude to have.
Right.
And that's the attitude I've adapted to now.
Forget that there's a problem, bring a solution. See, that's
there
why that's how you know.
right there?
We're there. We're there.
flowing.
We're there. You know?
Exactly. And because if you place too much emphasis on it, you're going to drive yourself mad.
Mad, yeah.
And I think that's the problem that I had before, hence with all the gaps, is because I was just placing too much focus on things that I didn't need to place, that I didn't necessarily need to place focus on. Especially when you're in the beginning of your career and stuff, there's a lot of things that, you don't need to focus on as much. You just need to be as creative as possible in the beginning of your career.
Facts.
And there was other things I just kept putting my mind onto, and I think that stalled me a lot. Now I just have the attitude of like, you know what? If the song's there and I believe in it and it sounds good, I'm just going to put it out. I don't care who says yes or who says no. As long as it's out there in the atmosphere, that's all that matters. And I remember my manager said something that stuck with me till this day. He's like, sometimes all you need to do is learn how to do something once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, and then you'll be able to do it over and over and over and over and over. And that's how the place I've gotten to with releases now. Because now I know how it works.
Yeah.
I can go. I will literally be like to my manager, "Oh, I've got a song. I feel like this one should be the first single. Let him hear it."
Yeah.
He'll be like, "All right, great, cool." I'll literally log in myself, distribution, Longtime, Cilla Raie, producer this,
Yeah.
PRS this, tap, gone, send. It's coming out on the 25th.
Done. And do you know what? Before we wrap up, like, you just made me think. Once, twice, 3 times a lady.
Exactly.
When you said that I thought the song that signifies you. Done.
Yes.
Done.
Yeah.
So I mean, look, I've got to let you go. Like, look, I want to thank you for taking the time to speak to me.
No, thank you for having me. Honestly.
And it's been a long time in the making.
It has.
And obviously, like, I still stand by what I said in the DMs. I said you're beautiful. I said I want to take you out, but we'll talk our camera for that. But no, honestly, thank you so much for taking the time. I really enjoyed this conversation.
No, honestly, do you know what? Media Spotlight, the work that you guys have done is incredible, and I keep saying time and time again, like, for little artists like me, and especially for those R&B artists that need the platforms, we need you guys. We actually need you guys. Do you know what I'm saying? We need you guys. Yeah. It's important. Your platform is important.
Thank you. And I appreciate that.
Yeah, and you know what? With our fan bases, I feel like I have a great fan base now, and they love to know more. So when they can, come on and see clips from Media Spotlight or see interviews and stuff like that, they appreciate it. So if they appreciate it, I appreciate it.
Well, like you said, don't think of problems, think of solutions, exactly. And it's still going there. So, I mean, thank you so much. If you would like to tell our audience where they can catch you on all the socials, what's coming up for you, tell them right here. The floor is yours, sweetheart.
Yeah, so you can catch me all over social media, Cilla Raie, so that's CILLARAIE, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Cilla Raie TV. I'm literally all over the net. And my new single, Longtime, is out, so go and check that out.
I mean, and just to finally add, like, not only a beautiful singer, but just beautiful all round.
Oh, thank you.
She said to me before we got on camera, she said, I feel underdressed. Look at me, Rube. I'm in a cap and tropical fucking shirt. But this beauty right here stands.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate you.
But, no, thank you so much.
Thank you.